Hey, welcome to another episode of DOCasts. In this episode, we're going to cover Oh My ZSH. What's Oh My ZSH, you ask? Well, it's a framework that's community driven, meaning that community goes ahead and it contributes to it, that is built on the Z shell. It allows you to customize what you see in your terminal utility. So it gives you the option to colorize things, add some plugins for easier usability, some themes to make things look pretty, some helpers and some other functions that you can take a look at in the doc files. But trust me, if you haven't used Oh My ZSH, you're going to love it. I love to install this on some of the servers that I'm going to be working on for a long period of time. That way things look a lot nicer and I don't get bored of what I'm seeing. So with that said, I'll post some URLs to the websites that I'm going to be referencing today. This is the Oh My ZSH official site. Of course, there's a GitHub repo. You can get to that repo by clicking on Fork Me on GitHub, and it'll take you to this page right here. Robbie Russell, he's the guy who started this, so take a look at this repo here. Make sure you read through some of the information here. It'll help you get started. What we'll do right now is we'll get this installed on a DigitalOcean server that we can get up and running right away. So we'll jump into our DigitalOcean control panel. We're just going to name this ZSH. I'm going to select the size as the most minimum one here. I'll select San Francisco, that's closest to where I am. I'll leave Ubuntu here. We're going to be working with that. And of course, I'll select my SSH key. Then I'll create my droplet. And let's let this load. All right, so our DigitalOcean droplet has now been created. We'll take the IP address here. We'll go ahead and we'll copy that. Then we'll bring up our iTerm or our terminal application here. And I will SSH into the root for that IP address. I'll click on enter. Looks like I need to clear my known hosts here. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this file. And we'll try this again. So I'll remove it. And then I'll try it once again. It's going to ask me to verify. I'll click on yes, or I'll type in yes, and then it'll take me to my root directory. All right, so it looks like we are connected. The first thing that we want to do, of course, is we want to check if ZSH is installed. What is ZSH? Well, ZSH stands for Z shell. And what we're going to do is we can check if it's installed by typing in ZSH and then typing in -- version, and that'll allow you to see if ZSH is installed. So currently ZSH is not installed. We can install it by using apt-get install ZSH. Now another way to check if it is currently installed on your Ubuntu system is if you use ls-bin. So if I type in ls-bin, it'll give me the directory of the utility applications here. So if I take a look, I will see bash installed here, which is currently what we're using. But if I scroll down, I won't see ZSH. So we don't see any ZSH letters there. So it's not installed, just like what was mentioned earlier when we typed in the ZSH -- version. Again, we're going to have to type in apt-get install ZSH. So I'll go ahead and I'll do that. But before I click enter on my keyboard, I'm going to add git and vim into the mix here. That way I can get everything installed at one time. So I'll click on enter. It'll install all of these. And I'll go ahead and I'll just click on Y on my keyboard to make sure that all of this goes through. And of course, everything was installed. We can check if ZSH is installed. Again, by either displaying the bin directory. We now see ZSH is installed. Or by using the ZSH -- version command, we should now see that we get a ZSH version within our command line. If you're curious and you want to see what bash version you have, you can go ahead and do the same thing here. Just go bash -- version and you'll be able to see the bash version that you currently have. But that's just some icing on the cake if you'd like to know about that as well. Now let's get Oh My ZSH installed. So what we're going to do is use the automated tool that's provided by Robbie Russell here. If you go to the GitHub repo and you scroll down here, you'll see that if you use the automatic installer, you can use curl or wget. I'm going to go ahead and just stick with curl. So I'll go ahead and I'll paste that command in here and I'll just click on enter. It'll get everything set up for me. And boom, you see that Oh My ZSH is now installed. So I love this screen. I see it every time I update Oh My ZSH. So isn't that so cool? Anyhow, let's move on. So now just in case, let's go ahead and set Z shell as our default shell utility. So let's go ahead and let's paste in ch for change shell to bin ZSH. And then we'll click on enter, and it'll go ahead and it'll process that for us. So now what I like to do is just exit out of the session here and then relog in. So I'll just SSH back into that root user here. And now we'll see, oh, we got this cool arrow here on this left-hand side. Now this is a result of one of the Oh My ZSH themes, which I love. I currently like using the cloud theme here. That's why you see the little cloud, but right here we have the arrow. And I believe this is the Robbie Russell default theme here. So if we want to change this theme or make any adjustments to the plugins or things like that, we now, instead of using a .bash profile, which is what you would use on a Mac, or the .bash RC, which is what you would use on Ubuntu, we're now going to be using a .zsh RC file. So what we can do is use Vim that we installed earlier, and we can Vim into this file. And you'll notice a couple things here as soon as you open it up. You have your path to your ZSH home, which is a directory that you can open up and take a look through if you would like to. What I like to do is I like to open this up in Vim and just take a look at the contents, like the different themes that we have, the different plugins that we have, and so on and so forth. Now you can set the theme that you want to use here. So like I said, I like to use Cloud. You can use Robbie Russell or whatever your theme you would like to, but I use Cloud. So I'll go ahead and I'll just enter that in here. And then I'll move down to the end of the file. You'll see some alias examples here. You'll see some other examples there. You have the ability to add to your path if you need to, or edit your path if you need to. Then you'll see that we have the plugins area where you can add some very useful plugins that will add some functionality to your Z shell. When I have Oh My ZSH installed, I like to get Git, Rails, and Ruby installed on my plugins, and I'll just go ahead and I'll just write and save this out. Next, what I'll have to do is I'll have to source that ZSH file just like you would any bash RC or bash profile. Then I'll just source that. And you'll now see that instead of the arrow here, I now have a cloud. So that cloud theme has now taken effect. Now remember I said that you can go into the Oh My ZSH directory? Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's Vim into the .oh my ZSH directory. That'll open up Vim where we can take a look at the different plugins, templates, and themes. So the plugins here, a lot of them will implement some aliases that you could use for easily running commands. Take for example get. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up the get plugin here, and we'll see that we get a whole bunch of aliases. I really love using this get plugin here. I use it every day. So I recommend making sure that this is installed in your ZSH RC file. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll exit out of that. You can go ahead and browse through that directory if you would like to. You can go ahead and check out the Oh My ZSH website. Take a look at some of the docs here. It'll take you to GitHub where you can go through the wiki. And you'll be able to see the plugins overview for information on the plugins. And you can take a look at the themes here, which will actually give you some screenshots of what things actually look like once the theme has been implemented. Some other useful things that you might notice now that you have Z shell installed and activated and Oh My ZSH is you now have the ability to tab complete things more visually. So if you typed in Vim here and then you typed in the dot symbol and then you hit tab on your keyboard, this will bring up all the dot files or all the hidden files that are within the directory so that you can see visually what you can choose from. This makes it extremely easy to navigate through directories and files. It makes things a lot easier, more simple. That way you don't have to remember where everything is and having to continually type in the ls command so that you can see what's in the actual directory. So I hope this tutorial helps. If you guys have any questions at all or would like me to cover anything else in detail, please feel free to leave some comments below or leave me some feedback in the feedback area. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next episode.